everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm LaWanda.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And today we are here to discuss the season finale of The Chi. So if you hang tight, we'll be right back with you.
Louisiana where the last one burned you. Know that ain't cool. Wanna show you how I'm nothing like him. Swear that's the truth. So you can't trust that alone.
All right, guys, we are back. And like I said, we're talking about The Chi. This is season 3, the finale. This episode was titled A Couple 2-3. And apparently that's a Chicago reference to a group of people, but you know, it's more than 2, but less than 4. So I had to look that up.
Yeah. So I call this a soft landing. I think I was looking for, something explosive, something that falling out of the sky kind of thing. And initially, when Papa's dad got arrested, I'm thinking, okay, here we go. This is setting it up. But the plane came before a soft landing. So I don't know how y'all thought about it, but I'm not necessarily disappointed. I understand what was going on. They're setting up next season, and anything can happen. Because all of our predictions were like just thrown out of the window.
I was going to say that. Right. None of our predictions were correct. And, we said a few episodes ago that we didn't want it to be predictable, and it wasn't. It wasn't. Right. None of us were right. And that's okay. And I feel like the episode was more hopeful. I thought it was going to be, more death. Someone was going to die. But I guess because Ronnie had already died, I thought it was interesting that we started off the season with a funeral and we ended with a funeral.
With a funeral, yeah.
Yep. And I thought about that too, because I was thinking, honestly, like, if we wanted to end this season with a boom, really last week's episode could have been the finale.
True.
And this week's episode could have been the opening of season 4. But I'm not mad at what they did. It was still a very good episode. And like you said, opening with a death and ending with a death, it seems like everything has kind of come full circle. So I wasn't mad at it. It wasn't, like Ron said, what we're used to in terms of the explosive finales, but it gave us some closure on certain things.
Yeah, and a began and ended with a wedding as well. So I was just thinking, okay, I stand corrected on a lot of my predictions and what I thought would happen. But I thought they were good surprises, though.
Yeah,
it was definitely things I didn't see coming.
Like what? Tell me what you did. What you thought was a surprise.
I just knew Camille was gonna use the information in such a way, and especially when the pastor was arrested. So I thought that was just gonna be a start of all the dominoes falling, and that didn't happen. She chose the high road. But I was still thinking that she had something up her sleeve. I was thinking
maybe some information about her was in there too.
That could have been it. That could have been it, especially with him taking money.
I was wondering if there was something out there too lingering about her as well, because she also paid. Yeah. She paid Papa's dad, and then he got, he got pulled in there, and then he got to come home. Who gets to come home from the?
Well, they said that he was in the police station singing.
Yeah,
that's what I said. He should have been going to the bank. So, I thought Papa was going to the bank. He came home real fast. So that is pretty obvious that he snitched. And I think, he gave up Camille, and that's probably why she didn't use the information that she had on Douda.
And I thought he had something on Douda, and my first impression was, oh, here we go. Douda might, and I thought the reason he didn't make it to the court hearing is because he was too busy trying to set up a kill for.
I thought that too.
I
thought he was going to try to go after Trig. I said, he said, oh, I'm going to let them have that little court date because I'm going to settle this on the other side. That's what I thought was going to happen too.
But you know what? What he did was a very smart move. That was a good move. If he wants to keep control of the situation and manipulate them both, he got them both right up under his thumb because Jake wants to stay in school and Trigg can't afford it. So you gotta do what you gotta do.
But I like
right. But this is the thing that I thought was odd about that though. And my son and I were talking about that. This dude had Reg killed. So how could Trigg trust him? Exactly. That's the thing. I was like, you need the money and everything. But I said, this is the same dude that had your brother killed. So that, for me, I don't know.
I think Trigg got something up his sleeve. He's not down for Otis. He's not trying to make a friendship or a partnership. He is trying to get what he needs out of the situation. But I think in the end, he's going to try to outsmart Otis and get some revenge.
But you better be careful because Otis is now mayor and he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve being a mayor, particularly, and I'm sure there are a lot of crooked cops that he's gonna, start paying off real quickly if he's not already.
Oh, he already said he's gonna get the current police chief out of there and replace him with his security guy.
There you go.
So.
And so he has to be very careful trying to get Trigg trying to get Douda. So I think it could be done. It's just that it's gonna take a lot longer than a couple of episodes.
Who really needs to be who Douda needs to be watching is Rosalind.
Yes.
Because I think that she would get to Otis before anybody else.
Yeah. He better get her. He better reel her in because Rosalind's no joke.
Yeah.
I thought there was gonna be a moment between Rosalind and Camille. But it didn't. Yeah, I did.
I like that high road Camille took. I mean, and it made a lot of sense what she said too, and the outcome, she lost, but she was real cool about it. So, I mean, kudos for her because, I had no idea that role would be played out like that with her. So I really enjoyed watching that,
I was still hoping she had another plan up her sleeve. Just like we didn't see her paying the pastor, I was still thinking that maybe she was taking the high road in order for us to see, but then she was still working another angle behind the scenes.
I think that is probably the case because like her speech that she gave when she was conceding to Otis is kind of like she kind of left it open for interpretation where she's saying like this isn't over yet, there's still work to be done. And I'm like, I don't think that that's the last we've seen of her.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, and the fact that those papers that she has, they didn't put that in the script for no reason. That's going to come back up. I was also thinking of Jake. So what do you think of his new situation being with Trigg and him and Imani's kind of bonding moment that they had?
Well,
I thought it was. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I thought it was cool. He was more understanding than I thought he would be.
Exactly.
I did not expect Jake to be that understanding about things. I thought he was going to have an issue. So that was interesting how that played out. But then he started tripping when he started bucking that responsibility. I was like, okay, Jake gonna be on the hands list this week.
But Imani really came through. I like what I saw and what I heard from Imani. I mean, I'm thinking, this might be right for Trig. Because she is
a stabilizing force. We know that.
Yeah.
We saw her face when Douda made that proposition to Trig. She was in the background.
Oh yeah.
And you can see in her face like this is not a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
And even when she
That's not a good idea.
Yeah. No, it isn't. I mean, it puts him right back out there on Front Street, and anything can happen. I still don't trust Douda, even if he is out there running things. I don't trust. Because Douda would have him killed in a hot minute.
That's what I said. That's what I told my son. I was like, he can have him killed, and now he has more power.
More power.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So I was like, I would not trust him.
Mm-mm.
And then he'd probably use it. He could set him up and use it and get Jake back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of that next season. We're going to see a lot of back and forth. And I hope that nobody gets killed behind that situation. I could just see it happening. But let's keep hope alive for Jake and hope that his new family situation will work out for him.
Because I don't know. I don't know. The character of Imani, she seems so perfect. Typically that most characters have a flaw. Her character doesn't really have a flaw. She has a past, but not a flaw. So I'm wondering if they're going to develop her more, because right now she just seems a little bit too perfect. Like, it's very fairy tale like.
I wonder if her being transgender could present, like, it's not necessarily a flaw, but it does present like a conflict. And I wonder if, like, I mean, we haven't really seen too much of her struggle in that regard. So I wonder if that could be like a source of like an issue, because especially with Jake, when you're a child and you are growing up and coming up in school, kids will tease you about that, like, oh yeah, your mom is not this or that or whatever. And so, like, I know that Jake is sensitive to things like that, especially if he and Imani continue to develop their bond. So I wonder if that could present like some kind of flaw or issue where we'll get to dig deeper into Imani.
But I was surprised.
I thought the social worker would have.
I'm sorry. I was surprised to see how well Jake understood and took the fact that.
That's what I said.
Yeah, that was really, he really manned up on that, and honestly, didn't seem like he had a problem with it at all.
He said he didn't.
Yeah. Oh, that didn't surprise me, because I think that generation, their exposure to the different issues is different than when we grew up, so it's not as shocking to them. So that part didn't surprise me, but the conversation went it was I give an old reference, very Donna Reed. It was, you know what I mean? It was very perfect. I can see him saying, I don't care, but I don't see the rest of the conversation going like that.
Right, and that's really what I meant. It was, as you say, Donna Reed kind of family, family show kind of thing. He not only accepted it, I mean, you could hear or feel the heartfeltness in his conversation with her about her transgender, and it just went over so smoothly.
Yeah. I wonder if the fact that she has, like, he asked her about manslaughter, and the fact that she stood up for herself and ended up like killing her dad, I wonder if that resonated with Jake, because he has had an issue with his brother dying, and so he might want to stand up for himself in a way against Otis. And I wonder if that kind of helped him to bond even more with Imani. The fact that, okay, you can be transgender or whatever, I don't really care, but the fact that you stand on something, like, I can respect that.
To the tall. Yeah. Yeah, because even with that, when she was telling him that she had to, shoot her own father, had to defend herself, I was bracing myself for that next moment. I was like, here it comes, because she's gonna have to explain why she had to, and that moment didn't come. And to piggyback on something that LaWanda said, it's the younger generation is true. It's like they don't really see color, like interracial dating, transgender, or anything like that. So that the young people, they love who they love, and
And speaking of that too, like, I think the younger generation kind of respects people that are straightforward with them too. And that's when we got to the scene with Papa and his dad. Wow. And when his dad just kept trying to skate over the issue, he's like, no, I want like, give me an answer, give me an explanation. And he kind of popped off on his dad. So I see that a lot of these issues that we don't expect children to be able to handle, like, they are pretty equipped.
When he manned up on his dad, I was like, this boy, he's coming into his own, hanging out with Jake and Kevin and and smoking.
Well, Ron, you know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. Coward. Because Tariq, I mean, that's what he was asking for from Ghost. Yeah. He wanted him to be up front, and Ghost was doing the same thing that Papa's dad was doing. He was being evasive. He was not being forthcoming, and that's why Tariq lost respect for Ghost. Mm-hmm. And you see that Papa is losing respect for his dad, because, as LaWanda said last week, she referred to him as being a false prophet. He is operating like a false prophet.
Yeah, because I think the kids are wise beyond their years. You know, they are observing, and they're wise enough to be able to discern what's going on, and you lose trust when you lie to them, right? Particularly these kids, they're streetwise. They've seen a lot, so it's not like you can. It's not like you can hide things from them or lie and say that you're shielding them from it.
But you know, like power, there are certain things you can't tell a child, because children don't hold things well. So he could not, you know, you can't tell a child what you're into earlier in life, because he's gonna go out and tell his friends. His friends will tell their friends, and next thing you know, you got police at your door.
Well, Papa's dad had some explaining to do.
Well,
because the feds rolled up to the funeral.
Yeah.
And everybody saw it. So he had some explaining to do.
And I think whatever he did was a lot bigger than what we think, because you know, police just don't show up at a funeral. I mean, they had to have known where he was, where he would be. He's at a funeral. They're going to just snatch him like that? It's something.
They said he was arrested for money laundering. But to your point, Ron, I do agree that maybe like some kids, you got to know your kid. Like some kids can deal with that. But when Papa went with the boys and they were all sitting in Kevin's room talking about what had happened with his dad's arrest, he kind of said, you know, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna take care of my family. He was kind of fearing the responsibility of being head of household if his dad wasn't there.
Right.
And so I do agree, like it could be too much for some child that's like Papa, where he feels like I'm gonna have to step up in my dad's absence, and you know, then you know it snowballs from there. But I do think he definitely owed him some kind of explanation, more than what he gave.
But Papa. I mean, the boy is wise beyond his years. When he told Jake and Kevin, you know, that a saint is nothing more than, you know, an angel that had fallen and gotten back up. And you know, I was laughing at it because, of course, you know, where he got that from. But at the same token, I think that's where his father made the mistake. Yes, I'm a pastor, but I'm also human. And you know, and having to explain to him, you know, that Jesus didn't pick 12 of the most perfect disciples. In fact, you know, they all had problems, and that's how Jesus works. He works through people with problems. So Papa, on the other hand, had this idyllic viewpoint about his dad, that his dad could do no wrong. And I think
most kids do, though.
And most kids do. Until they start come of age and they start seeing their parents as human beings and not some savior, you know. And so I think that's where we see Papa at this point. He's maturing and he's coming of age, so he sees things differently, and I think that's what we're picking up on. But getting back to whether, you know, he should have said anything to Papa about what he was doing outside of preaching, no, I don't see it that way.
But I think once Papa saw him, that's different, because he saw him. So you can't lie to him. You can't like dust that under the rug. And I'm of the mind that once someone asks you for something, then answer them, because if they're asking a question, they have some knowledge at that point. Well, you know what I mean?
I agree.
So when you lie, you just build distrust. You know?
Exactly.
And it's an opportunity to teach him about the nuances and the complexities of life. And, you know,
there's
a certain political nature to him being a pastor in a community. There's a certain game that he has to play. And so I think it's, once a kid is old enough to see and start asking those questions, you tell them the truth.
But that's what I mean.
And that's the worst thing you can do.
But that's what I meant in terms of sharing the reality of things, because we know pastors do that all the time. They share their pulpit with political folk, and we don't see the money being passed under the table, but I can guarantee you it is. And Jake said the same thing. You know, he said, there's nothing illegal about that. People do it all the time. You know, and should it be done? No, because it's immoral.
If the feds are involved, he's done more than.
That's my point. You know, he did more than just took us, right? Because that could have been a fee. That could have been a fee. Just, hey, you want to speak to my congregation? Okay, it's going to cost you $1,000, $500, whatever that is. It's wrong. It's immoral, because separation of church and state. But the point being is, they do it all the time. Now, when
I don't think I was mad at
and laundering are two different things, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If money laundering has, to me, nothing to do with what he did with Camille. I think he's into something a whole lot deeper than we know right at this point in time.
I think so too.
And that's where Douda comes in. I'm thinking that there's something between him and Douda, because when brother came in and said, you know, the pastor's down in jail singing like a bird, Douda got worried. So there's something going on with Papa's father and Douda.
Definitely something that's beyond what we've seen so far.
Yeah. We got the crumbs, but there's a big sandwich over there somewhere that needs to be eaten. Because what we saw.
You saying we're gonna open up season 4 with the pastor's funeral?
Exactly. That's a good thought.
We might.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, Papa.
Tread lightly. But while we were talking about the kids, Kevin is the last of the crew that we haven't discussed. He was tripping a little bit when he was talking with Keisha about, you know, finding out that she was pregnant, and he kind of went off, and you know, you're gonna have the baby by that man, that crazy dude. Like, Kevin, do you have any sensitivities towards your sister right now?
He's all over the place.
I think he just didn't understand.
He didn't understand. He's a kid, and he probably doesn't understand. Like, how could you?
Okay. Now, we just talked about them being wise beyond their years and being able to handle certain things.
There you go.
I expected a little bit more from Kevin in this regard.
Oh, absolutely. They are wise behind their years certain things, but at the same time, he's a kid, and then you know,
don't understand some things about women just yet.
Women. That's what I say. That's
he's
the
not
thing.
here being intimate, so he needs to get on the train quick.
Okay.
And we know that just because a man is intimate with a woman, that does not mean that they understand women.
Let's get real. He'll never understand women. I don't care how old he gets.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't know at 14 or whatever, and he may not know at 54. Shoot.
Trust me.
Yeah. So that's the part. It's that part.
Yeah, he can get that. You know, that in fact, the less you think about trying to understand a woman, the better off you're gonna be with them.
That's a lifelong lesson.
Yeah, believe that.
Yeah, I just found it interesting that Kevin, given his intimacy with Gemma this week, and you know,
where was that? He was screaming the text messages and stuff. How did she have alone time to give
up there in the bed chilling with robes on and some more?
Did I
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, they up there chilling like they at a resort somewhere. Where is that?
Wait a minute. Did I understand Gemma to say that she and her father had a conversation about this, and she told her father that she theoretically she wanted to give it up to Kevin? She
told her therapist.
Huh?
Her therapist.
She told her therapist.
Because she said something, and I'm thinking
it was a therapist.
She didn't tell her dad.
Definitely not.
Because, you know why? Because like you, I'm like, well, where's his dad? Where's her dad? And I'm like,
he was telling Douda that old boy was singing.
Right. He did. Yeah, he did. And that makes me wonder, like, what is that into? Like, why would that be the conversation?
Oh, her dad is shady too.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, he's straight up in the politics mixing.
So a lot of disappointing parents around here. He's upright, like he has all this money and everything, and supposed to be this upright, upstanding businessman, and it sounds like he's shady too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You don't. Yeah, I mean, you can't have money like that and not be shady. I'm sorry to put it out like that, but you know, follow the money. You'll see.
What did you guys think about Gemma urging Kevin to seek therapy? Because he seemed like he was more open to it after he realized that she had, you know, been in the therapist's office for a while and talking about a suicide attempt. What did you guys think?
It's a good idea.
It's a good idea.
I think it's a good idea.
What is she going through? Because now I need to know her backstory. I mean, granted, just becoming a teenager, you can go through a lot, like just really trying to build your self-confidence and the struggles you go through coming of age. But then it really made me question what's going on in this house that seems to look so perfect from the outside that she was feeling that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely think it has something to do with her dad.
Yeah, me too.
And something he has going on the side that has brought some strife into their home.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope we do find out more about that next season for sure.
And have we seen the mom? Have we seen the mom?
No, I
No,
don't think so.
we haven't seen her mom.
Yeah, so that's of interest. I would love to hear more about that.
So I know before we go, we got to get on Emmett and Tiff.
Yeah. I was surprised that I didn't think they were gonna make it. So that was the other prediction that was, shocked. You know what?
But they're in premarital, right? And and they were the sister, and sister was like, look, don't look at my degrees and think I'm not street smart, But Tiff,
what's the rush?
Yeah, I mean,
like, what's the rush?
Well, I think she saw something that for some reason they just don't see. And I understood with Tiffany because, with Tiffany kind of explained to Emmett's mom, and which was good. She understands Emmett. She says, Emmett is good for her. She knows his mess. She knows the things he does, but it's his mess that she's accepted. So, we all have a neuroses, and you accept those neuroses. When you become married, you accept what comes with the package. I'm not sure if she fully understands what she's getting. And,
right.
And
clearly she don't.
Yeah, and I think that's what
we don't want that neurosis.
Yeah, because that's
you don't need that neurosis.
Right, that's a deeper one than you might want to be, try to
have. Yeah.
And I think that's where, if they stayed long enough, I think that's where the counselor would have started to take them, because she saw through some of that, that mess about, hey, let's go ahead and get married and yada yada yada. It's more.
Oh, they were so rushed. It was so hurried.
Yeah.
It's different. I get the marriage aspect of it, but it's not like they don't have a child. It's not like they've been dealing with. I don't know. That's a hard one for me, because it's different when you're not connected to a person that way. So even if they don't get married, they're going to have to deal with each other. So it's almost like dealing with them in this context at least preserves the family unit in a way that they can still work it out. So that's a hard one for me, just because the child is involved. And I'm not saying the infidelity is not a big one. I think it's a major issue. But the other thing is they work well together, that there's stability and support. And for whatever reason, he seems to want to be a father to that child and a man for her. He wants to be a unit with her. And it's almost like I can see how some women will look at a man like that and say, this is his imperfection, this is his flaw, but otherwise we work. And as long as he's respectful, I'm not saying that's for me, but I think I understand it in that context, right? Because if they don't get married and the relationship disintegrates, then that man is out of the home for her son.
Right.
And then you open a door for somebody else to come in to be over that child. So it's like, I understand her from that. I would think I would want to protect my child in that situation, because it seems to be that he's a good father to the child as well.
No, I agree.
He's actually, minus the cheating, he's an attentive, loving mate. It's not like he's not doing, things for Tiffany that makes her feel good. And like, even the way that he pays attention to the food that she likes, and he, gets things her way instead of, the way he likes it. I think that's something that's endearing to Tiffany. But it seems like for her, she kind of, I don't know if it's the honeymoon phase of just being engaged, but she ignores all the red flags.
Yeah. Or maybe she thinks that sometimes women think that just because, I get married, that
things are going to change.
Things will change, and that he won't cheat because now I got a ring on it.
Right.
I think Emmett is a good dude. I think he's very genuine with his feelings. He's just immature. And I think that once he, comes out of that immaturity, he would be a good father and a good husband. Not anywhere near.
He's a much better dude than his knucklehead dad.
You took the words out of my mouth. Because
Darnell is a hot mess. And even though, the Wanda says, he's the OG, that he's probably the realest on the show, as you say. Right. And he is, because you know where Darnell's coming from. He's always going to be Darnell.
Right. But
that's also not a good thing.
He cracks me up, though, trying to use the couple's coupon for him and Emmett.
Oh, my goodness. But now we see where the hustler spirit in Emmett, because Emmett is a hustler too. Yeah. So now we see where he gets that from too.
He just uses his tool sets in a better way.
Yeah, he does.
That's all.
Yeah, and that's the Jada side. Yeah, that's the Jada side of him coming out.
Right. Oh yeah, even down to the stolen outfits for the wedding. I'm like, this man is just off the chain.
I was like, Daddy Darnell.
Well, what did you guys think about the moment when Keisha and Tiff had a conversation about the, considering abortion and everything for the child? I thought that was heavy. It was on some grown woman stuff. I was like, wow. I was really here for that conversation.
Yeah, and we finally, we have been wondering about this for some time. What happened to the baby that Tiffany was pregnant with from last season? And so we finally learned that she actually did get the abortion. And I'm glad that they addressed that. So good job writing, not, leaving any loose.
Right.
And then I really just thought it was a sweet moment because Keisha, I think that she felt like she was going to be judged in that moment. Yeah. But instead, she was met with some understanding and somebody who had already been through it. So I thought that was a really sweet moment for just women, bonding together and people who have been through that kind of situation. I know the circumstances are different, but I think it gave Keisha something to think about too. Like, can I handle this? Like, a child is a lot of responsibility, and am I prepared for that?
But I think she seems to see the bigger picture. And sense that this child could be something great, and do you want to destroy that? And so
something different. I mean, I think she said she couldn't go through with it after the once she went to the clinic and everything, and she changed her mind there. But by the end of the episode, when she went running and everything. I felt like she was looking towards her future. Now you can exercise when you're pregnant, and some people do jog and everything. But when I saw that, I was thinking she was wanting to still compete again and everything like that. And I was like, and maybe at that point she had come to a decision like, okay, I'm moving forward.
Yeah, because she wasn't like stagnant. You know how last episode she was being haunted by the different sights every time she seen something that triggered her, and this time she looked like very confident. She put on her shoes and was looking forward to the future, ready to go. She wasn't having any of those terrors, and she just looked super confident, like she was okay with her decision. So I think that she plans to still be a mother to this child, and especially when she was talking to her mom saying, what if Ronnie's mom had aborted him, like he wouldn't have been able to save me.
Right.
And so she's like, maybe this is happening for a reason.
And
so
that's what I meant.
She finding some resolve.
Right. She sees some potential greatness that could actually come from this pregnancy. So, the tarot cards read that she's going to keep the child. But again, I agree with you, Tiff. That scene where she's running like hell kind of indicates to me that she wants to get back in the game. And if that's the case, you can't have a baby and do that at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess from my personal side, I looked at it like I'm pro-choice in the sense that a person is a sovereign being and they have the right to make the decisions, whatever their decision is, and I can't judge them. But on the same hand, if somebody asked me, that's not what I would advise them to do, right? So when I saw her, that I think it was is having confidence in her decision to keep it and understanding that if that's what she decides to do, she's gonna have to woman up and do it, and that's okay. And that could be a source of strength for her, to know that she has somebody else that she has to stand up for. So. I'm like this, whatever she decides, that's her. And I think, like you said, being able to make that decision without people judging you because they really don't know your story. They really don't have to walk in your shoes and be supported in that way. I think that's what was good because I don't know what I would do in that situation. Well, I think I have an idea what I would do in that situation. It'd be a hard decision to make.
But Jada, I think Jada was made a good point, you know, because when she asked Jada, Jada, what would you do? Or did you have any regrets having Emmett? Because she had Emmett around the same age. And she said, no, there weren't any regrets. She said she wished she had been told that there are other alternatives, but she didn't have any regrets. And I think something clicked in Keisha when she heard that. Yeah. So it's going to be real interesting to figure out here where she actually turns. I'm more inclined to believe, and I'm going to stick my neck out, really don't want to, but I'm more inclined to believe she's going to have that baby.
I think she is too.
You might be right. You may be right.
And you know, I love the music that was playing, Wale, Sue Me.
Yeah,
at the end of the episode, the music is just so fitting. Every single time, you know, they have this moment where they're showing like the montage of everybody's situation. It's like, it's so fitting for the moment because here we are talking about like all of these different scenarios. And in most of these cases, like all of these people have come through so much and they really have overcome a lot. Even down to like generational curses and just like traumas. And so like with that song playing in the background, like Sue Me, I'm rooting for everybody that's Black. And it's like, how fitting because like as a people, we go through so freaking much. And it's like, okay, Sue Me, I'm rooting for my people. Like, how can you be mad that we've overcome given what we've been through?
Right.
And we do it as a unit. We do it as family. We do it in a circle of friends that we do it united. I love that too.
How fitting, yeah.
That's what I appreciated about this episode. Why I thought it was gonna be darker. I was like, I wasn't mad at it because it was hopeful at the end of the day. It was hopeful.
I agree. And it gives us something to look forward to for next season because there still are some things that we expected that I think they still gonna happen, just not yet.
Chicago's a rough town. You cannot count it out. You know, there's gonna be some murder, some crime. Somebody's going.
You know, I gotta tell y'all something funny I saw on social media. So someone was lamenting the passing of Ronnie, your namesake, Ron. So somebody wrote on IG, was like, oh, why y'all do Rodney like that? and Lena chimed in and said, who's Rodney? I was dying. I was like,
believe me,
I love our people.
People call me Rodney all the time. Sometimes I don't even bother to check them. You know, I'm like, whatever. I won't see you too much more. Call me whatever. You want to call me Rodney? I'm Rodney for the day.
Yeah, so I thought that was funny.
Well, before we close out, do you guys have any predictions for next season that we haven't already mentioned? Because I might have one, maybe. I don't know if it's a prediction, but I think it's something that they could definitely explore.
Then go ahead.
Go ahead.
In terms of Ronnie's killer. So we know that he was probably a friend of Coogie's and he was avenging Coogie. And so we get to see all of the backstories of these people later on down after they've done something horrible or something bad has been done. So I'm wondering if Ronnie's killer will be brought back up again next season and maybe he'll be made part of the cast and we'll learn about his backstory. I don't know. That's just a thought.
That's a good thought. One thing I'm thinking, and I said this at the very beginning of the season. We know that Brandon was killed, this and the other. I'm wondering if it will ever come out that Douda or whoever was behind Brandon killing. Like, are they eventually going to learn from the streets what happened?
Right.
To Brandon?
That's something that we definitely would love an answer to.
Maybe there's a concerted effort between Rosalind and Trigg and Jake to take Douda down. Because it's in their interest now, we see.
Yep.
that, you know, she wants to see him taken down too.
It's interesting you said that, because my thought was we might see the disappearance of Rosalind.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think Rosalind's number is up. Yeah.
Well, you know, it was interesting that even though she and Douda are on the outs, she still showed up to that custody hearing. I was like, okay, they're not cool. I said, but she still came.
Yeah, but Douda
played the role.
Yeah, but Douda, his mind is someplace else. This man's a straight up killer. He don't care. And I'm thinking Rosalind that ticket might be punched for her. If I
now that he has the mayor role, you know, now he's got he doesn't need her anymore.
Doesn't need her anymore.
I wouldn't think that too fast, because I'm sure she knows him well enough to know how he thinks. So if there was even a possibility, she may have something planned for him.
Oh, she probably does. I think she's sharp. She's very strategic.
Because for you to give up for her to give up the code to the safe and do it so openly without fear tells me something largely about her character. She knows something.
She thought he was going to lose.
Well, she thought he was going to lose. That's why. That's why she feared this, that once he got in power, he would switch up on her and feel like he didn't need her anymore. And so, you know, that was kind of her insurance policy too.
Well, it failed. So we may want to start looking at a coffin for Rosalind.
Plan B,
We might want to look for one for Emmett too, because I think next season, Dom definitely pops back up, and I think she's gonna spill the beans, and their happy marriage might be on the rocks. So Emmett might want to start looking for a casket soon too, because Tiff find out and he gonna be 6 feet under.
But because the part about that is that's his business partner. So the last thing you want her to do is to really start tripping, because it's gonna impact your business. It'll affect your marriage, but it's gonna impact your business too. So he may be put in a situation of having to appease Dom to keep the business going, and it being a conflict for him at home.
True.
Okay. Well, we got some good predictions for next season. I definitely enjoy. I think this season was probably my favorite season so far. I definitely enjoyed where they took it, considering, you know, the drama off screen. So I enjoyed it.
I had wondered that. I was like, which direction is this show going to go in? But they did a good job of keeping the show moving and developing these other characters.
So yeah, definitely good job to everyone involved with season 3 of The Chi. And we have some very exciting news. Drum rolls. Tiff, you want to drop the news?
Sure. Tuesday, August 25th at 1:30 Pacific time, 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, we are going to have the incomparable Emmy Award winning, critically acclaimed Lena Waithe on our show for an interview, and we are beyond excited about it.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, man, we have so much to ask her. So you guys make sure that you are here for that. If you have some questions that you want us to ask her, you can drop down in the comments and let us know. Also, let us know what you thought about this episode, about this season. Be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so that you get alerted every single time we post, and definitely get alerted when we go on with Lena. So you don't want to miss that. Also, make sure you go to our social media. We are at The Spot Real Talk on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Give us a like, follow us. We'll be sure to follow back. You guys have any closing remarks?
That's it.
No, it's been a great season. I enjoyed this season too. I think that our audience should let us know about any other shows they want us to recap. I know for sure that we will be doing Power Book 2. So you guys who watch Power and who follow us because of Power, we will be back on the Power train.
And if you haven't followed us, come check us out on Power Book 2, because you know we got it on and popping there too. You know, Tiffany and I go for it all the time with Power Book.
Oh yeah,
you don't want to miss that. I'm trying to tell you.
Go at it.
I know. It's better than the show.
Oh.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in with us. We are going to call it a night, and we'll see you. The next time we'll see you, we'll be here with Lena Waithe.
All right.
Right.
Stick with us.
Good
All
night.
right. Good night, guys.
Bye.